Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and Happy New Year. Welcome to the PUBCAP meeting for 2026. Thank you for being here. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is 5:30. So let's begin with introductions. To my right,
Good evening. My name is Ryan Greenfeld. I'm the BPB liaison for PUBCAP.
Hi, my name is Carmen Nordyke. I'm a board member.
Luz Marshall, Brownsville Independent School District.
Patricia Cavazos, Brownsville Independent School District.
Happy New Year, Chester Gonzalez, attorney.
Good evening, Miguel Ángel Patiño with Laboratory Corporation of America.
Hello, Joe Medrano, small business owner, the Pavilion at El Jardín.
Good afternoon, Araceli Aguilar, Gomez Fragoso and Associates.
The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from our last meeting. So if I can have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All of those opposed? Motion carries. Second item on the agenda, approval for, old business. Old business.
Taking a look at where we were at the last meeting, the old business that we covered was there was no meeting in December. Instead, the PUBCAP committee was invited to the BPB Christmas party. We also discussed BPB's presence during the holidays with the Christmas parade and our sponsorship through the Holiday Village.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is new business.
New business, we do have coming up Charo Days and Sombrero Fest. In the past, we have made it available if anyone from PUBCAP would like to volunteer to participate. If one of y'all would like to, just get in touch with me. Either send me a message or you can get with me after the meeting and we can get you marked down for that.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
In addition, I just wanted to bring up too that we have a couple of other events coming up. Pretty soon will be Scout Government Day, when we traditionally have usually 4 scouts that come and get a tour here of the facilities. And we also have a Girls' Night Out that's coming up. If y'all haven't heard about it yet, someone will probably be reaching out to you here shortly to see if any of the women on the committee would be interested in participating in that as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is fuel and purchased energy supply.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Cassandra Rosales, and I'm the Fuel and Purchase Energy Manager. And today I will be speaking a little bit about the fuel and purchase energy supply. Beginning with our agenda, the BPUB meets its power supply obligations through a combination of different resources. And I will be speaking a little bit about the electric system, about the Hidalgo power plant, the Silas Ray power plant, the fuel management, the power purchase agreements that we have with Constellation and AEP, the wholesale market purchases, and our fuel and purchase energy charge. Beginning with the electric system, we provide electric service to customers both inside and outside of our city limits, which is about 133 square miles of Cameron County, and we service about 55,000 electric customers. Our peak demand for fiscal year 2025 was 315 megawatts, and our sales to our customers during fiscal year 2025 was 1.3 million megawatt hours. And our all-time peak of 317 megawatts was hit in May of 2024. Beginning with our first resource, which is the Calpine Hidalgo power plant, we have a 21% ownership, which entitles us to about 105 megawatts of capacity. And this power plant is composed of a 2-to-1 combined cycle, which includes 2 combustion turbines and a steam turbine, which is located in Hidalgo County. Our next resource is the Silas Ray power plant, which is owned and operated by BPUB, and it gives us a capacity of 116 megawatts. We do have 3 units at this plant. starting off with our Unit 10, which is an aeroderivative gas turbine, which gives us a capacity of 50 megawatts. And then we have our Unit 9, which is a natural gas combustion turbine, giving us a capacity of 45 megawatts. We also have our Unit 6, which is a steam turbine that operates in combined cycle with our Unit 9, giving us a capacity of 21 megawatts. We do have fuel and transportation agreements in place to help us with the volatility of the market. And currently, BPB has a gas transportation agreement with Texas Gas Service and a gas supply agreement with Tenasca Marketing Ventures for service to the Silas Ray Power Plant. We also have a gas supply agreement with Calpine for services to the Hidalgo Power Plant. Moving on over to the power purchase agreement with Constellation Sendero. This agreement entitles the board to about 78 megawatts of renewable energy. And this Sendero wind farm is located in Jimhawk County, and it consists of about 39 wind turbines. Our next power purchase agreement is with AEP Energy Partners, and this PPA has both fixed and wind energy, and we received an estimated 65 megawatts of energy through this power purchase agreement. The wind portion is supplied through our Desert Sky Wind Farm, which is located in Pecos County and consists of 107 wind turbines, and we are entitled to 62.2% of this wind farm's production. We also participate in the ERCOT market, both as a load-serving entity and through our qualified scheduling entity. As a load-serving entity, BPB has an obligation to serve its native load, and we serve this native load through the resources that I previously mentioned, or we go out to the market and make purchases as well, just depending what is more economical for us. Moving on to the fuel and purchase energy charge. One of the department's responsibility is energy accounting of our portfolio. And power production costs are analyzed to assist in calculating and making recommendations for the fuel and purchase energy charge, which is a pass-through fee that reflects the production cost and any other costs associated with meeting BPB's energy requirements, which is then multiplied by the customer's kilowatt consumption, which is something that we see in every bill of ours if you're a customer of BPB. This next slide shows what our historical FPEC rate has been. For fiscal year 2023, our FPEC rate was about 7 cents. We were able to lower that in fiscal year 2025 down to about 5 cents. And most recently, we have been able to lower that down to about 3 cents, which is including the rate that we're paying for January currently. So what that translates to is for an average customer using about 1,000 kilowatts per month, it translates to a bill of about, in fiscal year 2024, was an average of about 139. In fiscal year 2025, that was reduced to about 111. And most recently, we are at about $99. So in conclusion, we strive to have a diversified energy portfolio and maintain cost-efficient energy to ensure that the pass-through costs to our customers are as low as possible and to provide the best service that we can to them. Do we have any questions?
Any questions?
I do, I have a question. So it seems that as the years are going by, months, we are decreasing the cost of energy. And that is based on more wind farms?
Well, that's really market-driven. Right now, we have a more stable gas market, so some of our units depend on gas. So we are tied into a gas price index, which sometimes if that is reduced and that becomes more stable, we're able to see a savings there. There are more wind farms out there, and since we do have wind farms, we do get to see the benefit of that energy as well. So it basically depends on what it is that the market is doing and how it's tied into our different resources.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your
Thank you.
presentation. Next item on the agenda, protection and controls.
Good afternoon. My name is Elias Ruiz. I am the Protection and Control Engineer for the Relaying Department. Okay. Today I'll be talking about the protection and controls and its role in maintaining a safe, reliable electric system. This presentation was created by Lutz Sippel, which is a relaying supervisor, However, couldn't make it today, so I will be presenting on his behalf. The goal today is just to discuss a high-level understanding of why protection matters, how the grid is structured, and how breakers and relays work together to protect people, equipment, and service reliability. Okay, so the agenda is we'll cover why protection, the grid, breaker, relays, and at the end of the presentation, I'll take any of your questions. So protection exists for four main reasons: people, equipment, environment, and service continuity. First and foremost, protection systems are designed to keep people safe by quickly isolating dangerous electrical conditions. Second, they prevent damage to expensive equipment such as transformers, breakers, transmission assets. Third, they help reduce environmental risks such as fires from damaged equipment. Finally, protection ensures reliable service by minimizing outages and limiting the impact of faults on the system. Okay. Next slide is the electric grid. The electric grid is made up of four major components: transmission, substation, transformers, and distribution. Transmission moves large amounts of power over long distances at high voltages. Substations serve as nodes where voltage levels change and where protection and control equipment is concentrated. Transformers adjust voltage levels for efficient transmission and safe distribution. Finally, distribution delivers power to the end users, such as homes, businesses, and industries. So the next slide here is going to cover under transmission lines. They carry high voltage of electricity between substations. Since they are exposed to weather, vegetation, environmental conditions, they are especially vulnerable to faults. Protection systems must detect faults on transmission lines quickly and isolate only the affected section to maintain grid stability. One of the next main parts of the substation is the substation bus. The substation bus acts as a common connection point for multiple circuits within a substation. Because many elements connect to the bus, a fault here can be severe. This is why bus protection schemes are typically fast and highly dependable, designed to clear faults in a very short time. This is a transformer. I'm sure you all are familiar with what a transformer is. Find them in everyday appliances. However, this one in particular is in the substation, and it's one of the most critical and expensive assets in the grid system. They are designed to operate within specific thermal and electrical limits. Protection systems monitor conditions like overcurrent, differential current, and temperature to prevent catastrophic damage and long-term degradation. Next equipment here is a distribution switchgear. As the name implies, this is mainly for lower voltages and serves the customers directly. From here, you get your feeder exits, and those are the corridors that you see out there within the city and city limits. Right? Protection at this level focuses on fast fault isolation while maintaining service to as many customers as possible. Coordination between upstream and downstream devices is especially important in distribution systems. Okay. Breakers and relays. Breakers and relays work together as a system. A good example of a breaker is the breakers in your home and within the panel. These breakers obviously are of higher voltage and large and occupy a large footprint. The breaker is the physical device that opens and closes the circuit. The relay, you can think of it as a brain. that decides whether the breaker should operate based on the system conditions. Without relays, breakers would not know when to open or close. Essentially, it defines how they act. A couple of definitions. I already touched on this: the breaker and the relay. A relay allows us to safely control large electrical systems using low energy signals. The relays here, this is a relay that controls a transmission breaker. And it typically allows us to, there's other devices that are in the breaker itself that allows us to see the voltages and currents in a small device. So how does this relay do its job? Well, there's some devices called current transformers, or as we know them, CTs, and potential transformers, also known as PTs. These provide voltage measurements. They basically are what their name implies. The transformers, they step down the higher voltage and transform it to a lower voltage where a metering device could be used safely. Relays receive hardwired inputs such as breakers, statuses, and alarms. Statuses could be anything from letting our energy control operators, whether it's open, close, if it's locally, if it's in the remote status or local. Alarms are basically can be wired to detect gas levels, heater, power, or if there is a loss of power, either AC or DC. This next slide here shows equipment that I was letting you know about, the CTs and the PTs. This right here is a CT, and they're also located in the breaker. The PTs, they record the voltage in our lines and are then sent to our relays. This picture shows the wiring of a breaker. The breaker typically comes with several CTs, which we can then use to wire different type of relays for different protection assignments. Okay, so how relays work. Modern relays process many types of inputs, including analog values, digital signals, and even fiber optic or radio communications. They are wired so that the outputs can be for breaker trips, alarms, and control signals. Today's relays just not just provide protection on these devices, but they also monitor and can be used as diagnostic tools. Here in this slide, we have a picture of what we like to call a legacy relay. Typically, they're not made anymore, or have just run their lifespan in the industry, right? Now, the legacy relay typically had mechanical components that sometimes could, even though reliable, are not as accurate as your solid state electronics that the modern relay has. And the modern relay allows us to use many other features that a legacy relay does not offer. And some of those features are collection of data. This is a good example right here. When a fault occurs, we typically retrieve the data from the relay, and this allows us to make a diagnostic and analysis as to what happened during the fault and help with the mitigation actions. Protection failures can have serious consequences, including equipment damage and widespread outages, as well as very, very important safety risk. So as the grid grows and becomes more complex, protection systems are constantly evolving, and it's critical that the supporting system has the latest technology. This is a picture of an event that was retrieved from one of the relays that we have. Here you can see a face-to-face fault and a trip, which was sent to a breaker, in this case, a distribution breaker, and it tells you the amount of time that it stayed open, it stayed open and then went back to its normal state. Typically, this type of faults occur in milliseconds. If it's a transient fault, which means it comes and goes, sometimes the customer will not even notice it. That's how fast that is. And this picture shows a transformer that failed catastrophically. Don't know the exact details of what causes, but this could be a result of maybe a protection or control issue. Right. Is there any questions?
No question.
Yes, sir.
I think your presentation is awesome, okay? Highly technical, awesome. How do you train the employees to know how to maintain and operate these type of electrical equipment?
I believe there's a certain criteria that is that they look, in this case my manager looks for. Obviously there's technical training that is on the job. There's several people within the company that possess a lot of experience, and we also have, I like to refer to it as a lab, where tests and I guess trials, right, can be run on relays.
This is highly skilled labor. I mean, you need to have people with electrical engineering backgrounds, electrical experience,
Right.
to maintain such a important and expensive equipment.
That's correct. A lot of our technicians do possess the electrical knowledge, theory and practical experience. So I would say also the BPUB is very good at allowing professional growth. So if there's a seminar or a workshop that is of that relates to the newest relay that is out there, typically that training is or can be provided.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
No. Thank you.
Thank you so
Great
much for your
presentation.
presentation. Next item on the agenda is public comments.
I did have one woman call ahead, Ms. Evans. And then we do have one public comment that will follow, Ms. Evans.
My name is Janet Evans, and I'm speaking on behalf of some concerned households in my neighborhood, and that is the Los Ebanos neighborhood right off of Palm Boulevard. So first I want to say thank you to PUB, because every time I or one of the neighbors have called because of the problem we're experiencing, the response has been immediate. A truck is sent out and the sewer pipe in the alley behind the prospective home is cleaned. Since we bought our home 12 years ago on 4 West Avenue in Sunset, we have had vent pipes lengthened on our home, plumbers crawl under the house to check pipes, and our sewage lines on our property have been given a clean bill of health with regards to plumbing. The problem of periodic sewage odor in and outside of our house has persisted through the years. I noticed plumbers across the street at 2 West Avenue numerous times and could often smell sewage in the alley. And I spoke with them, and they told me they had the problem with sewage odor in their home as well. Our immediate neighbor on Sunset has the same problem. My neighbor across the alley at 1905 Palm Boulevard has the same problem with sewage odor in their guest house next to the alley and in their main house. And it's not constant, it's periodic, okay? And she's called the city as well. So I actually just spoke to a resident at 235 Sunset, and they have a similar problem. It was suggested that the problem might be the lift station and the prevailing south winds, but I don't think that that's the case, because we have periodic sewage smell inside the house. And the prevailing south wind happens all the time, and sometimes we don't smell the, sewage problem. So collectively, we're more concerned because there's a 4-family condo that's being built on Palm Boulevard, and we're thinking, when that condo becomes occupied by 4 families, is it going to make the problem even worse? So I know that the clay pipes were changed out, and we now have the plastic pipes, or whatever, the PCP pipes 10 years ago. But and the last time I called, which was just about a month ago, I think, they came out, or actually 2 weeks ago, they came out, and instead of just cleaning out the little pipe in the alley next to my house, they went all up and down the whole entire alley, and they were there till dark. And but I think that it's just like a Band-Aid approach to something that's, that needs further looking into. So that's why I'm here. Questions?
Is there anyone here that could address what she is concerned about, or I don't know? Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Mark Dubroffi, Chief Operating Officer. Certainly sounds like a unusual situation. What we'll do is we'll get her address, and we'll send a crew out there, we'll televise and see what's going on in there. It's unusual to get a smell inside the house from like a lift station. It's usually like the whole neighborhood might happen if that occurs, but we will go out and find out and televise and see what we have, and look at other complaints in the area, since she's saying her other neighbors are
So
having
who can
problems.
she call to? Who does she have to call, or can she tell you directly, or?
Already are contacted directly
Yeah.
to
Okay.
foremen,
Yeah.
supervisors.
Okay.
So we
Thank
have
you.
done preventive maintenance on the line.
Okay,
It's a 15-inch PVC line that was installed in
Okay.
2010.
okay.
So we're doing periodically maintenance on it, but we'll follow up just like.
Okay,
the process.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Any other public comments?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
My name is David Cornejo. Some of you might remember me. I was here not too long ago, probably October, November last year. But I was here because I've been charged connection charges, okay? When I connect my utilities to my house, I have a property at 706. It's at Valley and Country Club, VICC. And my property does not have a water meter. Okay, that's my concern. Now, at VICC, it is my understanding that there's a lot of properties there at VICC that don't have a water meter. At a certain point, and I don't know about, I think this started in 67, VICC, in the 60s. Some of the properties do have water meters, but at a certain point, they just stopped, PUB stopped, and they said, I don't know why, but they just didn't go on and continue installing. So my understanding is that not only VICC, but there's another place in Brownsville that also has what they call non-metered water service. So they just charge you a flat fee. It's about $98 nowadays, starting this month, because they charge you a flat fee for the water, and of course, based on the water, they charge you the sewer. So I think this month was $98. But my concern is, whenever you open your services, right, they go out there and they look at the light meter, and they have to tear off a tap. They have to take out the meter. They take out some inserts, and then they put the meter back on, and they put on a new tap, right? That's understandable, $25 for that, that's fine. But if you don't have a water meter, there's nothing to be done. But I was still charged the $25. Now, $25, you might say, is nothing at all, right? But once you multiply that times how many meters or non-metered properties are there, I understand that PUB has 75,000 customers. How many are there at VICC that are non-metered, and they're being charged those $25? Understand where I'm going at? It's not just me. It's a lot of citizens of Brownsville that are in the same state, but they just don't bother coming over here. But I look at the numbers and I say $25, and then I go times 2, that's 50, times 3, that's 75, times 4, that's $100, right? So over the years, how many times has PUB charged those $25 for non-service? It's kind of like this. Let's say you go to a dentist, and they tell you, you know what? You may need a root canal, and we're gonna charge you $1,000. You may need it, right? But let's say you don't. You don't need it after all. But because the secretary put it on paper, you still pay for it, even though you didn't get the root canal. Well, that's what Mr. Capirano told me. Well, you know, the secretary put it on paper, so you're gonna pay for it. And I just don't think that's right. Okay, another issue that I have, but before I get off of this one here. So I understand, and I know that it's happened to some of my other properties where they're going in and they're replacing the water meter, right? They're replacing the water meters with new ones, state-of-the-art water meters, and these water meters have special features. They can tell if you have a water leak. So then I talked to Mr. Campirano. I said, wait a minute, Eddie, but what about if the water leak is on your side? Oh, no, there's something there for that too, on the new water meters. And then I said, well, I mean, well, customer service, and you know, why are we not installing those meters at VICC, where we have the non-metered properties? And the reason that I'm here is because I believe that I'm at the right place, and that you guys can do something about it. I can talk to Eddie, you know, day in and day out, and nothing's gonna happen, but if one of you takes this upon yourselves and address, why is this not happening? Why are we charging Mr. Cornejo and all the other non-metered properties $25 for a non-service for something that's not being performed? That's what I want you guys to help me out with. The other issue that I have is at that same property, I wanted to install my services, right? So I apply online, and I do my submission, and then at a certain point, I have to forward the proof of ownership, and I have to forward my ID, which I do. But then on the day of my service, I request my service, I don't get it. I don't get the service. And he said, oh, sir, because you didn't submit all of your deed. I said, but I submitted enough to where it says that I bought this property on this date, I bought it from this person, and I'm the owner. oh, no, we need the whole deed, so you need all 10 pages or whatever? Yeah. I don't understand why. And then they tell me, and I have the letter here with me, it says pending full deed and spouse ID. Why would they need my spouse ID? I'm the applicant. Now, PUB goes on to say, and I found it on their website, they have what is called the Water and Wastewater Service Policies and Regulations. So I'm gonna refer to that, and I have it here with me. So the first thing is the applicant. The person, which is me, organization or corporation who signs an application form requesting electric, water, or wastewater services to be made available at a specific location and thereby agrees to pay for all such services at the location also see customer. So if I go to customer, it tells me exactly the same thing. I'm a customer too. Okay, and by the way, I'm also a consumer. I also consume. Okay, but they make three different categories, PUB does. So if that's what they're telling me, I don't understand why would they need my wife's ID. I don't understand that. But then me and my wife were talking about it, and she said, you know what? This is what it's about. It's about financial responsibility. If you don't pay, I get to pay. They're gonna get me. But we've never been in that boat. You know, we've never owed money to PUB. But I think that's possibly true because I remember that Eddie, when I was in his office, he said, if one person here, you know, if one person owes $1,000, you and me and everybody else is paying for that $1,000. And I said, what? What are you talking about? But that's what he said, and you know, it doesn't make any sense, but I believe that that's what it is, financial responsibility. They're saying if you don't pay, your wife gets to pay. And by the way, you know, whenever we've rented, because I own rental property, and they wanna have the IDs for each and every adult. And let's say you have a couple, right, like a husband and a wife, but then there's another person who's on there on the lease, and that person owes money to PUB. Guess what? They're not gonna connect these people. They're not gonna connect them because that other person owes money to PUB. And I don't think that's right either. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you so much for hearing me out.
Can anybody assist Mr. Cornejo with this? Because he has already approached us about this since November. Anybody here that can address? Eddie, you're here? Okay, Eddie's here. Hold on, Mr. Cornejo, let's see what, because I know you came previously, I don't want to hold it and put it off, so might as well do it right now. Thank you.
Mark Dabrowski, Chief Operating Officer. So the gentleman is correct. There are properties within VICC that are metered and some are unmetered. And it goes back to how the land was annexed by the city back in the 1990s. The areas that are metered now have been properly platted through the city process that gives us easement and access to the property and meter placement. The older properties that were acquired are not platted. And so that makes it difficult for us to have the authority to be on the property. We've been made aware of this. We've met with city officials, and we are trying to develop a plan on how to address those customers who provide our service. But rest assured, all charges are based upon a cost of service that was authorized by the city council. So it's not uncommon to have unmetered service at places, but we understand customers do want meters, and we're trying to develop a plan to address that given how the properties were annexed by the city.
So that's in the process right now?
It's correct, yes.
Okay.
And it's been going on since the 90s, and it's time to address it.
Okay.
So I think Eddie's going to help us on the customer issue.
35 years.
And it's a long time, so it's
Yeah.
time to fix it.
They're on it, they're trying to do their
35
best.
years, that's a long time.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, Eddie, go ahead, Ed.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
No, I want you to address them.
Okay, absolutely. So, and I will. I have a loud voice, so I can, it carries a little bit, so that's not a problem. And so I did have the pleasure of meeting with Mr. Cornejo in my office for approximately 58 minutes on November 24th. And so we did have the opportunity to kind of go through all the concerns, and we did go through them each one. at length, and the rationale and behind it was given for each one of these. And so he is absolutely correct. Even on our website, it says, let's talk about the requirement of IDs for all adults that are listed either on lease agreements and deeds. And he is absolutely correct. Part of that answer is because City Ordinance 107-7, denial of service to persons indebted to the city. So that's incredibly important. And in most cases, I will not, out of respect to Mr. Cornejo, get into specifics about it, but if somebody else is listed on the deed or lease agreement as an adult over the age of 18, they will be required to provide an ID. And unfortunately, we treat everybody the same, and so the requirement it doesn't change. So that is an absolute requirement. So he's absolutely correct in referring to Section 100-7 as far as indebtedness to the city. In regards to...
So that's just the policy, right? That's
correct. It goes beyond that. It's even ordinance.
Okay.
And so that's supersedes pretty much just about everything.
Got it. Okay.
And so the issue with a $25 connection fee, as I explained to Mr. Cornejo then, it's not simply just the actual putting the two pipes together. There's a significant amount of administrative work that goes behind it. And it's not just the CSR that I have that's actually keying in the information, gathering the information and the data. We're also storing this information. And we're actually have maintenance on our CIS system that's very robust it's basically a repository. So it's everything having to do with setting up the account itself. So it's not just the actual physical work that goes into it, but in this case, he's correct since it's flat meter feed, but there's still administrative work and overhead that goes on the back end. And so that's actually what that $25 in addition to physical work goes into. Now, there's a lot of water utilities that actually remove water meters and things like that after the service is closed. We do not, that's not part of our practice. And if that was the case, those fees can get significantly higher to replace water meters. I know that you guys in the realty business are familiar with that, especially that areas outside of Brownsville. But nonetheless, that $25 charge also covers the administrative fees. I wanted to make sure that does that make sense? Okay. It is a one-time fee. That's correct. And it's both, as Mr. Cornejo is absolutely correct. There's one for electric and one for water, and both of them are $25. So together, it's a $50 fee.
All right, thank you so much.
What would be the difference, Mr. Campirano, between having a water meter and not having a water meter? What would be the difference? What would the technician have to do if you had a water meter?
So aside from the technician, it's actually with my CSRs who actually have to do the work as far as setting up the account.
So
And
I'm talking about the technician, sir.
I can't speak to the operations side of the house, but nonetheless, a lot of the times the services,
That's okay, don't answer the question.
but I
That's fine.
can if you'd
No,
like.
you can't. I'm asking you about the technician, and you're answering something else.
I mean, if there's somebody from the operations side that can address it, but
Don't worry about it. Can I rebuttal?
is this a forum? So,
Excuse me. Exactly.
Right, but when he talks, Mr. Gonzalez, right?
Yes.
When he talks about the administrative, okay? If you notice on your bill, there's two service charges. One of them is for 15 and something dollars, and the other one is for $10. That's $25 each and every month from 75,000 customers. They don't need the $25 to pay for administrative and clerical work. They get it from the $25 that every customer pays a month. If you multiply $25 times 75,000, that's a lot of money. The $25 is for the technician to go out there and perform the work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cornejo.
Okay, thank you.
any other questions?
No.
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Okay, so if there's no other further business to discuss, may I have a motion to?
I would like to ask a question. And
Yes,
just
go ahead.
because it seems fairly prevalent online, and there's some chatter about something called digital data centers. And they're in Edinburgh. I think I've heard talk about Edinburgh and Harlingen, and the amount of electricity and water that kind of project consumes. And I want to say thought I heard or read somewhere where, I don't remember what his comment was, but I thought that I saw something from Mayor Cowan regarding looking into that, or a conversation, or things that were not official, but there's that chatter about digital data centers. And I was just wondering what our position is about preparations for that, capacity, and those kinds of things, considering some of our larger customers like SpaceX, and whether or not that's even should be a concern. So I don't know if somebody can address that.
Good evening. So the latest news on data center, I understand, was going into Harlingen, I believe, and it's a fairly large one. They were talking about using 4.5 million gallons per day of effluent discharge from the wastewater treatment plant, as opposed to flowing it out. As of now, I don't know specifically what Mayor Cowan was referring to. I didn't hear that, but we have not had any serious discussions with large data centers in Brownsville. But if they were to locate in Brownsville and they comply with our building codes, then we would have an obligation to serve them. And so what that means is they would then be required to make a contribution to construction to build any infrastructure to serve them. They would have to pay for water rights and impact fees. So if when that comes, that's how we would handle and make sure that, you know, growth pays for growth. But they are large power, they can be large power users. You can have very small data centers as well, but these large ones use water mostly for cooling, and then they're large power consumers. And we would have an obligation to provide that power through the ERCOT market that Cassandra briefed you on earlier. Would, you know, expand that portfolio to acquire more power. But as of now, I don't know of any data centers that are looking in Brownsville of any significant size.
Thank you for that information. I was just curious about what, not necessarily if there were any plans, but if that conversation were to reach Brownsville,
Right.
what would be the course of
Right.
action that
It's
needs
like
to
we would
be
handle
taken?
any other new customer. So,
Thank you.
right.
So if there's no further business to discuss, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please? All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. It is 6:16.
Thank you, staff.